everyone, or good day coders. How are you all doing? And welcome to a brand new video where we'll be creating more games on Scratch. In today's video, we're going to make a balloon popping game. What you will do is you're going to pop the balloons by clicking on them. So let's begin. We're going to open a new project right here. As you can see, I have a new project. And what you're going to do is you're going to delete the cat. Then you're going to add a new balloon sprite and a suitable backstage or backdrop. So let's first get ourselves a balloon sprite. Here we go. Then we go to stage and get ourselves a suitable backdrop. Alright, so a suitable backdrop. I'm going to click wall 1. Alright, so now we're going to add this code to our balloon so that it bounces around the screen. So we go to events, when green flag clicked, motion, go to X, Y block, change the numbers to 0 for X, 0 for Y, and then point in direction. Instead of 90, it's going to be 45. Then you're going to control and drag out the forever loop. Go back to motion and drag out move 10 steps. Change the number to a 1. Then if on edge, it should bounce. So we test out our balloon and see if it actually does that. Yes. If it's too slow, switch up the number by clicking on the move 10 steps or the move steps block and change it to 10. Let's see if it's quite fast. I'm going to leave it at 10. You guys can leave it at whatever number you guys prefer. Now, did you also notice that your balloon flips as it moves around the screen? Balloons don't move like this, so we need to fix this by clicking on the balloon sprite icon and then click on the direction. We're going to say, if we click, so let's say green flag. If we click on direction right here, we say do not rotate. Okay, so this means it should just bounce off like this. Alright, so now we want random balloons. So this is the next step. With the code you have now, your balloon will start in the same place and move in the same path. So we're going to click the green flag a few times to start the program, and you'll see that it starts the same area, just right at that point. Okay, so instead of using the same X and Y value, we can let Scratch pick a random number for us. So in order to do that, we're going to go to operators and drag out pick random, put it there for X and put it for Y. So it's going to be between minus 150 to 50 for the X value, 150, and for the Y value, minus 150 to 150. Okay, so if you click the green flag a few times, it should start at different areas of the screen. You could use a random number to choose a random balloon color each time. In order to do this, we're going to need the change color effect by block. So we're going to go to looks and we're going to drag out change color by effect, and we're going to go to operators, drag out pick random, and say it should pick between 0 to 200. So now if we click a couple of times, it does change different colors. So now, what happens if this code is put at the start of the program? Does anything different happen if you put this code inside the forever loop? Which do you prefer? I prefer it this way. If you guys wanted to switch it up and put everything inside the forever loop, you could do so. So now, a challenge. Can you make your balloon start by pointing in a random direction between -90 and 180? So point in random direction. So this will be for motion, and you can say point in direction operators pick random, and you can say -90 to 180. So this means if you click the green flag, it's going to start off with different directions. All right, the next thing we're going to do is popping balloons. So we need to allow the player to pop the balloons. So we're going to click on the balloon sprite, then click on costumes tab. You can delete all of the other costumes. Just leave one balloon costume. So let's go to costumes, and we can delete this one and this one. So we only have one. Add a new costume by clicking the paint new costume and create a costume called bust. So this means we're going to say paint new costume. We're going to call this one bust or burst. And we're going to draw a couple of lines that represent a burst balloon. Usually it's black. All right, so in order to do that, you can just draw something like that. If you want, you can maybe decrease the size. Let's say you just want it smaller. All right, so let's say the thickness, make it at least 7, and then what you will do is just draw a bust balloon or something like that, whichever one suits your needs. Then you're going to make sure that the balloon switches to the right costume when the game starts. So we go to code and we say switch, which is in looks, switch costume to balloon A, right? So now we're going to say to allow the player to bust the balloon is that when we click on the sprite, so events, when this sprite clicked, switch costume to bust or burst, and play the sound pop. Now you can test the project. Can you pop the balloon? Does it work as expected? You'll need to improve this code so that when the balloon is clicked, it shows the burst costume for a short time and then it's hidden. You can make all of this happen by going to events, control, the wait, make it 0.3 seconds, and then hide. Hide like this. So if you click the green flag and say, okay, I'm gonna pop you, it should do that. Now that you're deleting the balloon when it's clicked, you also need to add a show block to the start of the program. So show block, the start of the program. So now let's see. Green flag. There. Now we need to add a scoreboard. So in order to do that, we go to variables, make a variable and call it score. Then when a new game is starting, by clicking the green flag, you should set the player score to 0. Set, click here, set score to 0. And whenever the balloon is popped, you need to add a score. So we're going to change score here by 1. Oops, there we go, by 1. So now we click the green flag. There we go. 1. Click the green flag again. 1. Perfect. So now we want lots of balloons. So popping one balloon isn't much of a game. So let's add more. So one simple way to get lots of balloons is just to right click on the balloon sprite and click duplicate. This is okay only if you want few, but what if you need 20 or 100? Are you really going to click duplicate 100 times? I don't think so. So a much better way of getting lots of balloons is to clone the balloon sprite. So in order to do this is that we're going to say when I start as a clone. So let's go to events, stop the program and say control when I start as a clone, so we're going to just put this here and to do it like this. We're going to do it like this. So when I start as a clone, 2 points. Okay, so click the green flag. So now we gotta have the hide here. We're gonna say hide, go to looks, hide, go to control, repeat 20 times, and say create clone of myself. You should also replace the hide block in the balloon script with delete this clone. So instead of hide block, it should be delete this clone. Now we can test our project. Ooh, there we go. And all you're doing is just popping the balloons. So those were 20 balloons. So when each of these 20 clones is started, they will each bounce around the screen randomly, just as they did, and see if you can pop all of them. So now we're going to add a timer. So we're making this game more interesting by only giving your player 10 seconds to pop as many balloons as possible. So we go to variables, we go to make a variable and call it time. And this is how the timer would work. The timer would start from 10. It's going to count down every second, and the game should stop when it reaches 0. So here is how we're going to do it. We're going to click on our stage. We're going to go to events and drag out when green flag clicked. Go to variables and drag out set time to 10 because we want it to start from 10. Then we're going to go to control and drag out the repeat until loop block. Then we go to operators and get the equals to block. We go to variables and drag out the time block and replace the number here with 0. Then go to control and drag out the wait 1 second block. Go back to variables, drag out change time by -1. And then we go back to control and say stop all. So you can drag your timer to the right hand side of your screen or stage. Then you can right click on it and say large readout. So it's like this. So now we can say, okay, green flag, got 10 seconds. I gotta pop as many balloons as I can. Okay, so I managed to pop all the balloons before the timer ran out. So you could make your game a little bit more interesting by giving the player less time, by having more balloons, by making the balloons move faster, or make the balloons small. You can play your game a few times until you're happy that it's the right level of difficulty for you. So, more challenges. You can add a lot more than just balloons. You can have like donuts or bad objects like bats that take away points when you click on them. So you could duplicate this. Okay, so you'll have this too. So you have balloon 1 and balloon 2. You can go to costume for balloon 2 and say, instead of a balloon, we're going to go to costume and get a bat. So I'll type there bat. You can delete this, put this one here on top. Okay, bat. Go back to code. Here, make sure it says bat. Okay, and then you can say, instead of giving me a point here, it should minus a point for every time I touch a bat. So you can also change here, bat, and you can add a few more sprites along the way. And you'll need to think about the objects that you're adding. Think about how many will they be, how big is it, how does it move, how many points will you score or lose for clicking it, will it move faster or slower than the balloons, what it look or sound like when it's been clicked. And if you need any more help, just rewind this video to see where you could go, where you went wrong, and you can get yourself fixed up there. But we have come to the end of the game. If you click green flag, you should be able to just get the balloons instead of the bats. I got 7 because there was a lot of bats there. You could change the bats numbers to 15 or 3 or 10. The choice is yours, guys. Be creative. All right, so we've come to the end of our game right here. This was popping the balloons.